to do something very important. That is decorating the house. Great, Monkey Monk. You can decorate the walls spot. You can decorate the crayons, the box of crayons. We're doing the show.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, let's do it again.
Hello, this is Flurry Moon. Welcome back to my channel. Today is the day. We will be taking a deep dive into the toy franchise Littlest Pet Shop. I have been a fan of LPS since the early 2000s when I was just a little kid, so I have a lot to say about this topic and so much nostalgia attached to it. We will be discussing all of the eras, controversies, niche diehard fan moments, and of course, LPSTube. Keep an eye out later in the video for my 10-year-old attempt at LPSTube. Don't worry, even if you know nothing about Littlest Pet Shop, I got you. First, big thanks to the Littlest Pet Shop wiki. I got a lot of my info from there. I am also aware that there are many amazing deep dives on this topic, Izzy's ZZZ's video for example, but I thought I would give it a shot with my extensive history of being a fan of this franchise. I'm going to go through this video timeline style, so let's just start from the very beginning. Also, please don't mind my voice. I don't know what is going on. I think I have a little cold or some allergies or whatever, so that's why I sound so weird today, but I am so excited, so let's get into this. When you think of Littlest Pet Shop, you may immediately think of the big-eyed bobbleheads that we know and love today. But what if I told you that was not the original vision at all? What most people don't know is that the franchise was actually created in the early 90s by Kenner Toys and had a completely different vibe. These toys had a much more classic and basic style as opposed to the unrealistic proportions of the 2000s version. These pets look like just about any other toy animal you'd find in the 90s. Maybe this is what led to their rebrand. If you're wondering what happened to Kenner, they actually merged with Hasbro, which is why all of the later releases of LPS are actually under Hasbro. Until the relaunch, which we will get to much later. The original pets, although different looking, actually had very similar sets and accessories to the later generations. They came with little food and water bowls, houses, fur brushes, bed, mirrors, all the items you'd expect from LPS. Although some collectors refer to this generation as G1. Okay. Although collectors refer to this generation as G1, it's also known as, oh my god, it's also known as Generation 0 or Vintage LPS. This is because most of the Littlest Pet Shop fan base is for Hasbro's rework. Oh my god. So Kenner's version almost feels like a different franchise. You can definitely see though where they got their start, the methods they chose to stick with, and the methods they decided not to bring back. This may be the forgotten generation, but you can't erase the progress that was made with this attempt, and this was Littlest Pet Shop, whether collectors like it or not. Coffee time! There was even a cartoon series based off the toys released by Kenner in 1995 that ran for 40 episodes. Honestly, I don't think it even had anything to do with the toy line, really. It just seemed like an animal cartoon with the name Littlest Pet Shop slapped onto it. Fun fact, according to the Lost Media Archive, most episodes of this show are considered lost media. If you don't know what lost media is, it's exactly that. A piece of media that is so hard to find, it just doesn't seem to exist anymore. Sometimes lost media can be found by some random internet user stumbling upon the search only to remember they have a copy on a tape somewhere in their basement. It can be as easy as that, or it may just simply be lost forever. I explain this because there is another form of LPS lost media later in the video because of course there is. Anyway, the show only ran for one season and there are clips of it on YouTube if you're interested. Because Hasbro bought Kenner Toys back in 1991, when Kenner closed down in 2002, Hasbro acquired many of their franchises, LPS being one of them. This occurred in 2003 when Hasbro filed copyright for the trademark, finally releasing their spin on the pets in 2005. All my respect to the 90s pets, they started it all, but Hasbro getting a hold of these toys was, in my opinion, the best thing that could have happened. Please do not get me wrong, the OGs were very cute, especially the Japanese version that replaced the detailed eyes with 2 little black dots. Come on, that is so adorable. But the 2005 pets, call it G1, call it G2, were awesome. What I'm going to do today is separate Generation 2 into 3 subsections to make things a little easier to understand. These were the pets that were released by Hasbro from 2005 to 2012, also known as the Golden Age of Littlest Pet Shop. So 2005 to 2007 pets are G2.1, 2008 to 2009 is G2.2, and so on. This sounds a little confusing, but it'll make a lot more sense as we go on. G2.1. Sometimes reworking an otherwise successful design can be a huge mistake, but this was not the case. The G2.1 pets were made to be a lot less realistic when it came to the proportions. The eyes, bodies, and heads were made much bigger, and of course, the bauble. This arguably was the most iconic part of the toys, not to mention the pink magnet every pet had on their foot, with the 2007 pets having a grayish blue magnet. In this first wave of the relaunch, the designers definitely kept the colors pretty realistic and muted, similar to their 90s counterpart. Another iconic aspect of the franchise was the packaging. The simple yet effective dark bluish purple background made the pets pop in their packaging, almost saying, "Look at me, buy me, spend your parents' money." I'm aware I am incredibly biased. As someone who was 3 in 2005, LPS were my childhood. That and My Little Pony kept my toddler brain locked in. I needed every single one. One thing about little girls, they love little things, and Littlest Pet Shop had that down. I mean, it's Littlest Pet Shop. Though some may think this first Hasbro generation is boring and basic, I think it was a great foundation. This has been talked about many times about the G2.2 LPS, but the best part of playing with toys as a kid was playing pretend, making scenarios and characters surrounding them, picking up where you left off the last time. The basic pets were perfect for this and were just unique enough to majorly stand out. The first releases of these new G2.1 2005 to 2007 pets were number 1 through 456. As you can see, LPS are differentiated by their numbers, since there are many variations of the same mold. If I said my favorite pet was the Beagle, you'd say, which one? This is why you'll be hearing a lot of numbers in this video, but don't worry, I'll have pictures up as well. Most of the pets I still have from my childhood are these 2005 to 2007 pets, so they hold such a special place in my heart. Some packs I vividly remember having: the 2006 pet pairs with the 2 monkeys, boxers, and short hairs. I know for a fact I got 124 for my birthday because I was genuinely foaming at the mouth for it. And a bit of a deep cut, the Paws Off diary, including the Bull Terrier. In order to open the diary, you needed to say your password into it. My password was Tommy because that's what I named him. That's actually what I named every boy pet I had. Another niche pack I got was actually the Littlest Pet Shop Plug and Play Biggest Adventure. It came with a controller you plug straight into your TV, and there's your game. No console or anything. This still shocks me to this day. Like, how do plug and plays work? You could adopt a ton of pets, feed and accessorize them, and play mini games for coins. The music hits me with a wave of nostalgia still, and I actually bought one off eBay a couple years ago just to feel alive again. Also, it came with an exclusive unnumbered owl that you could only get if you purchased the plug and play. This generation came with other exclusives as well. There were pets you could only find at certain stores or in certain sets. One of the rarest pets to date came from G2.1, and that was the purple and pink turtle from the 2007 licensing show. This pet doesn't have a number associated with it, and it is said that only 15 of them were made. Only those who attended the expo could get their hands on it, and those were mostly people in the industry. It's almost impossible to find them online anywhere, and those who have purchased them from sellers have spent close to $1,000 for this one turtle. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm so fucking jealous. I want him so bad. G2.2. These pets were insanely successful. Ask any girl born in the late 90s to early 2000s, we all had them. This success followed the franchise into the late 2000s with G2.2. This new generation, beginning in 2008, had similar molds but put a lot more emphasis on the colors and the eyes. Hasbro introduced more vibrant and playful colors, steering away from the more realistic look. There were definitely still pets that had that G2.1 like colors, but many blue, purple, and pink pets were introduced. Arguably the most iconic aspect of these pets were the new symbols on the eyes. This was a completely new design choice for the franchise, and again, it just worked. The toys felt like they were being enhanced, not changed. Each eye decal stood for a different personality, adding a lot more creativity for each pet. A snowflake for the chilliest, a diamond for the fanciest, a star for the sassiest, and a very creative one, a cookie-like symbol with a bite taken out of it for the hungriest. That would be me. There were many more, so it was extra fun seeing what personality your LPS had. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I even realized the symbols stood for anything. I was too busy playing with them to notice. The first pet to be reintroduced with an eye symbol was Seahorse 426, replacing the regular eyes with little hearts. Another change that was made in this wave was that the iconic magnets on the bottom of each pet were switched out for holes. We don't know for sure why this change was made. Some think the magnets were a choking hazard, so maybe that's it. Or maybe it was just a cost thing. This generation also came with some exclusive pets. Littlest Pet Shop's first ever koala was actually introduced through mail order. In order to get this pet, you needed to collect 6 stickers that came in the LPS packages and mail them with the order form that came with the My Collector Journal pets. Then you would wait 10 to 12 weeks because it was 2009, and you would receive your exclusive koala. 10 other mail order pets were advertised throughout the years, including an elephant, platypus, jaguar, labradoodle, kiwi, and so on. Although not an exclusive pet, but G2.2 brought us Dachshund 675, one of, if not the most popular Littlest Pet Shop. We will get to later why that is. G2.2 was also the era of the video games. 5 LPS games were released from 2008 to 2009, one being on the Nintendo Wii and the other 4 on the Nintendo DS. The DS games presented themselves almost like Pokemon games, with each game being separated into different climates. There was LPS Jungle and Garden and LPS Winter and Spring. These games included different pets based on the version you chose, but were ultimately very similar games. I enjoyed them as a kid, although pretty simple with not much depth. That's not really what I was looking for. We talked about lost media at the beginning of the video with the LPS 90s TV show, but what if I told you there was more? In 2009, Littlest Pet Shop Online, or LPSO, was launched. Similarly to Webkinz, you could buy a plush pet in stores with a code attached, go home and log into the site playing as your pet. It was a pretty standard version of the online games at the time, with mini games, customization, and chatting with friends. LPSO lasted until 2011 when it was shut down. On the Lost Media Wiki, it's actually labeled partially found. This means there have been aspects of the site that have been preserved and found. There is even a volunteer project entitled LPSO Revived, which is a group of developers trying to recreate the MMO from the ground up, using screenshots and the little video evidence we do have. The LPSO Revived site was last updated in 2022 with an update on Reddit last year, so hopefully we will hear about this again soon. G2.3. This leads us to Generation 2.3, which lasted from 2010 to 2012. This is widely known as the last generation before the dark age of LPS. We'll get there. This launch prioritized the panda, making it the official mascot of Littlest Pet Shop. The franchise was booming at this point, so not many changes were made this time around, the most notable one being the change from the eye symbols back to the more basic looking eyes like in G2.1. Although the franchise was at its height during this time, that isn't to say that everything was perfect during these golden era launches. In G2.1, pets with little strands of hair were added. At the time, these weren't super popular, but I don't recall major complaints. I actually had a few of them and I remember playing with them a lot. However, they are pretty ugly looking back, and most collectors do not favor them. Some specific packs in G2.3 contained pets with sticker eyes, which were really silly looking pets that are kind of hated throughout the fan base. The walkable pets are considered gimmicky and unnecessary as well. One of the biggest gripes fans had with the G2.3 era was Blythe. If you're like me and was getting too old for LPS during this time, you may not even remember her. I sure don't. She was also, sorry girl, not really that memorable. Blythe dolls were originally from the 70s, produced by Kenner Toys. I actually like the style of these original Blythe dolls. They're kind of quirky with their big eyes that changed colors with a pull string. That's like pretty cool to me. I don't know. Kids, however, did not really like Blythe and thought she was creepy. So the dolls were only produced for a year. The dolls had a few more comebacks sporadically, but the comeback we are here to discuss is the LPS collaboration. If you remember from earlier, Hasbro bought Kenner in the 90s, taking on the LPS franchise. It makes sense why Blythe was added to the mix since she was also a Kenner original. However, the two franchises just didn't go well together in many other collectors' opinions. During G2.3, sets were released under the name Blythe's Littlest Pet Shop. These sets included Blythe with usually 1 or 2 pets, usually with a theme like prettiest pajamas or camp fashion. The Blythe dolls look similar to their 70s counterpart, but more modernized with funky outfits and hairstyles. LPS fans did not like Blythe. Most remember throwing away the Blythe doll whenever they got a new pack, because, well, we're not here for her. It's called Littlest Pet Shop, and kids simply were into the pets, not some random creepy doll that confused fans by even being there. There were kids who did like Blythe, but they were definitely the minority. LPS was special because of the pets, and there were so many other doll lines at the time. If kids wanted dolls, they'd probably go buy a Barbie or a Monster High doll or something, but they didn't want dolls, and that's why they were buying LPS. This won't be the last we see of Blythe, though. Before we move on to the later generations, I'd like to go over a few more things that go hand in hand with the early years of Littlest Pet Shop. First, prototypes. Prototypes are the initial designs, often scrapped or changed before starting production. These are not meant to be mistaken with factory errors, which are one-off mess-ups from the factories making the toys. Prototypes are intentional designs that simply just didn't make the cut. Many mistakes have been made by the franchise using photos of prototypes in promotions and advertisements, when technically these pets don't exist. I honestly find it shocking just how many times this has happened, so let's go over a few. LPS Greyhound 2526 is shown to be beige and white in the collector's pamphlet, but was released to be light blue. This is a huge mistake. Many prototype pets are so similar to their release pets, you might just miss it with a quick glance, but 2526 is so painfully different from the prototype. Returning back to 675, one of the most iconic pets, on the pamphlet she is shown to have white around her nose, which is different from the released pet. Some actually like this design better since she has white on her bottom half and it definitely looks like it's supposed to be there. There are countless encounters of prototypes on the collector's pamphlets, which is so bizarre to me because, like, these are supposed to be showing all the pets you can get. Like, that is the only reason they exist. So I think it's funny how badly the editors messed up by adding pets you physically cannot get. There's a great video about all the prototypes by CCR Television, so go check that out if you're interested. I know I am. There are also secret or mystery pets that were advertised but were simply never sold. This includes Mouse 756 that was included as a sticker back in 2008. The fact that it actually has a number attached to it heavily implies it was supposed to be sold as a pet, but nothing of the sort was ever created. The same goes for Cocker Spaniel 757, released as a sticker but never as a physical pet. I think the most logical explanation for this is that these two pets were supposed to be released together as a 2-pack due to their numbers being next to each other. For whatever reason, they were scrapped or forgotten, but either way, someone forgot to remove the stickers from the packs, since I'm sure many fans were wondering where and how to get these pets. One of the weirdest cases of mystery pets is Destiny's Evil Twin. Basically, one of the more popular LPS tubers, we'll get into that later, LPS Hannah, made a skit called Destiny's Evil Twin. The videos included her channel mascot, 1313, and a mysterious odd lookalike. Not much is known about this pet at all, because it has no number. It is heavily theorized to be a prototype. Although there's no real way of proving this, nobody knows where this pet came from, not even LPS Hannah herself. What do you guys think? Could it be a custom or a prototype? Rarest pets. We mentioned the pretty much rarest LPS a little earlier, and that is the pink and purple turtle from the 2007 licensing show. But I thought we could go over a few more before we get into the downfall of LPS. In this case, rare doesn't necessarily mean highly sought after. We'll be talking about pets that were only sold a few times, were tied to exclusive events, or are generally hard to find. There are two special Comic-Con pets that are extremely rare. One of these being the superhero short hair cat that was only available for those who attended the 2009 San Diego Comic-Con, and with a limited number produced. The other was the Comic-Con hippo that was available the next year at the same San Diego event. LPS number 1, that's right, the very first Hasbro pet made back in 2005, is considered rare due to the fact that there is only one variant of the mold. To put that into perspective, the first launch of G2 LPS included like 35 different versions of the short hair cat, while this Chihuahua only had the one. It was sold in 4 different packs and then never returned again, even though he's pretty ugly. Like, he's really ugly. LPS 909 is so rare because she was a Walmart exclusive that was only available for a short amount of time. I would die for her. Spaniel 568 similarly is rare because she was an Australian exclusive. LPSTube. We are almost at Generation 3, I promise, but first we need to talk about LPSTube since it was popularized around this time. LPSTube refers to the Littlest Pet Shop community on YouTube. The videos consisted of comedy skits, horror shorts, and most famously, drama series. It has been heavily debated what the first ever LPSTube video was. I guess any video featuring Littlest Pet Shops would classify as an LPSTube video. For a while, the community considered Littlest Pet Shop The Haunted House by LPS Lover the first LPSTube video. It was posted on November 22nd, 2007, but it's actually been discovered by fans that LPSTube goes back further than we thought. There are several videos containing Littlest Pet Shops that were uploaded in 2006, so although we may never know the first ever LPSTube video, we know it's been around pretty much since the start of YouTube. Anyway, the style of episodic teen drama was popularized by none other than Sophie GTV with Littlest Pet Shop Popular, better known as LPS Popular. The story follows our main character Savannah Reed and her journey with insecurities, boys, and of course, mean girls. More specifically, Brooke Hayes. Although a very cliche story, LPS Popular was monumental for the fan base. The first episode was published on July 15th, 2010 with 4 million views. In the first few episodes, the camera and mic are not great, but as the series goes on, the episodes are actually very high quality with the sound, editing, and directing. Some scenes are actually shocking, like the iconic cat fight between Savvy and Brooke near the lockers. Oh my god. That changed my brain chemistry. It's pretty deep as well, specifically dealing with Savannah's eating disorder. It is a little wild and shocking seeing these cute childhood pets acting out scenes that are giving euphoria, but this series was iconic, and naturally, other LPSTube creators followed suit, including me. That's right, I made my own LPSTube videos because I can't ever just sit back and enjoy something. I just have to make my own. First, I had to make an LPS Harlem Shake because it was 2013, but soon I would become the next YouTuber to make an LPS Popular knockoff. On March 12th, 2013, I posted the trailer for my series LPS Troublemakers, with a Z. The description reads, "This is just a trailer. It is not the real thing. And before you ask, yes, this will be a real series." Smiley face. Why was that so passive aggressive? The first episode was posted the very next day. I was really getting to work. It basically followed the main character Chloe and her 2 best friends, Courtney and Molly. The mean girl in this series was Candy and her 2 other cat sidekicks.
Guys, the thing we should be really talking about is Candy in our school anymore? That's right! It's me, Candy. Guys, keep up with me! I'm Katie. I'm Candy. And I'm Catley. And we're the Kitty Crew. Whatever, girls, push me. Courtney, why do you think Candy was so concerned about our dates? She's probably jealous that she doesn't have one. Hi, girls. Can we sit? Ugh, just look at them. Ugh, they disgust me.
It was filled with cliches, but I was like 10, so cut me some slack. If you want to see exactly how 2013 these are, episode 4 of LPS Troublemakers has a makeover montage, because of course it does, with Good Time by Owl City and Carly Rae Jepsen. The last episode of the series was uploaded on March 28th, 2013, followed by a video for my viewers 2 days later. In this video, that is just text over various neon colors that hurt my brain, I'm addressing the future of the series. So as you know, I didn't make a LPS Troublemakers video today, ... I need to tell you something. Don't worry, I'm still making them. Let's just say LPS Troublemakers is off limits for a while. The plug for my iPad is broken. Someone in my family will get a new one soon, so don't freak out. Love, GummyBear579. Wait, my username is GummyBearLove579. I didn't even get my username right. First of all, this video has 19 views and 1 like, which I'm 90% sure are all from my older brother. Second of all, I don't know why I was being so ominous or why I said the series was off limits. Third of all, the plug for my iPad is broken is like the funniest thing ever. I also lied saying I was continuing the series because I immediately moved on to making Club Penguin videos. LPS Troublemakers is still up on my Gummy Bear Love account, but if you watch it, prepare yourself for the cringe. Anyway, moving on, after LPS popular, the community was booming. A lot of these creators were honestly extremely talented, making something so creative and high quality out of having a bunch of old childhood toys laying around. One of the best parts of watching these series were the comment section. Everyone came together to discuss the characters, storylines, and of course the talent and dedication of these LPS tubers. But soon, these comments wouldn't exist anymore, bringing on the death of LPSTube. In January of 2020, COPPA was applied to YouTube. If you don't know, COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. It ultimately stops kids from being targeted with a bunch of ads, and it is a good thing for the most part. However, LPS tubers were hit hard by this change. To COPPA, anything including children's toys or simply anything child-friendly is made for children. So even though most of these LPS videos were actually targeting young teens, that didn't matter. These channels would be deemed as made for children no matter what, and therefore would be hit with tons of limitations. The first limitation being, of course, these channels couldn't run ads. The community is filled with more adults than you may think, so not being able to make any money from their videos was a huge loss. Secondly, like we mentioned earlier, every comment would be gone since the comment section would be turned off. This was arguably the biggest disappointment following the COPPA hit. I'd argue a lot of LPS tubers would continue making videos without ads, even if it were every once in a while. After all, not every YouTuber makes money or nearly enough to survive. But I know for me personally, the comments are my absolute favorite part of doing YouTube. It's so rewarding, even if it's filled with constructive criticism or dare I say, hate. It's honestly so cool that people care enough about my videos to take time out of their day to leave a comment of any kind. So for that to be completely taken away from creators, the community was devastated. It's one thing to turn off comments for upcoming videos, but every single video's comments would be removed, dating back years and years. This created the downfall of LPSTube since it was no longer rewarding anymore. Creators couldn't even respond or converse with their fans anymore, and it simply wasn't worth it. Today, there are still LPS tubers, especially with the relaunch of LPS in 2024. More on that later. These creators have ways of re-enabling comments, but it's very tedious, and I can imagine most people would rather not have to deal with any of it. Those who have left the community, most of them have never returned, which is extremely unfortunate. Returning back to Sophie GTV, the creator of LPS Popular, she hasn't posted in 5 years, seemingly having left the series unfinished. We don't know for sure if this was because of COPPA. I feel like I remember her uploads slowing down way before COPPA was applied, and I think she just probably became busy with life just like any other regular person. Anyway, let's get back to our timeline. G3 started in 2012. This was a rough time for Littlest Pet Shop fans. The franchise went through a massive redesign that essentially started the beginning of the end. You may be thinking, why would they mess with something that was working so well for them? The last almost decade has been filled with so much positivity and success for the brand, so what happened? Maybe they got too cocky and thought no matter what they put out, kids will love it and buy it. Maybe they simply wanted to try something new and expand their horizons. Or maybe it was the Littlest Pet Shop 2012 TV series. It's Probably just that. Littlest Pet Shop began airing on November 10th, 2012. The show follows our main character, Blythe Baxter, navigating her newfound power of communicating with animals. You heard me right. Blythe is back. This time with a more youthful, less creepy look. But she's back nonetheless. The series actually did pretty well, lasting 4 seasons, ending in 2016. However, it did contribute to the downfall of the toys. The redesign occurred in order to make the toys look more like the pets from the series, and it sure was something. LPS were known for their unique and unrealistic proportions for years, but G3 went absolutely overboard with this idea, in my opinion. Most of the pets were given big heads, but with very small bodies and skinny little legs. This led to very disappointed children and collectors when they realized most of their LPS cannot stand on their own. That is quite literally one of the most important parts of playing with toys. Not only that, but they got rid of the bobbleheads. Arguably their most iconic feature. The molds had more sharp and harsh designs, if that makes any sense. It was just off-putting, honestly. The quality of everything about these pets declined severely when compared to the G2 pets, and G3 honestly felt like weird knockoffs. This isn't to say they were all bad. There are some molds and designs that I don't mind, just like how there are G2 pets I think are pretty ugly. The difference is in the quality and the overall performance of each generation. I got over the bad Generation 2 pets because they released hundreds of other pets during that time that I loved. You don't have to like everything your favorite franchise puts out, but when the bad starts to outweigh the good, there's a problem. Fans were furious. This started the revolution of bring back the old LPS. Kids began filming themselves, calling Hasbro, and telling them they want their favorite toys back. This is a bit random, but it kind of reminds me of the trend of bring back the old Club Penguin, where kids would make videos pleading with Disney in the 2010s. Let me know if you'd like a video on Club Penguin and all the controversies and unhinged moments. I think that would be so fun. Anyway, Hasbro was so overwhelmed by the negative reaction that they released the Bobble in Style series that consisted of leftover molds as a form of damage control. This series didn't last too long though, maybe because they ran out since they weren't producing these G2 pets anymore. They also released mommy and baby sets with the G2 designs, and honestly, they slayed with this one. Give me 14 of them right now. Littlest Pet Shop's downfall had begun, and it wasn't getting any better from here. Due to the overwhelming negative reaction to Generation 3, Hasbro was losing money over the decrease of sales with this launch. They needed to do something, and quick. G4. So Generation 4 begins, and this is their chance to really turn things around. This wave begins not long after G3 releasing in the same year. These pets were better, but still just okay in my opinion. They brought back the Bobble, which was the obvious choice. Like, come on. The pets were definitely cuter in my opinion, still some weirdos, but overall less experimental and seemingly closer to G2 pets. But this still isn't really what fans wanted at all. They wanted the 2005 to 2012 pets back. This wasn't the only controversy of the G4 launch though, and ultimately this generation would bring us to Littlest Pet Shop's biggest and only lawsuit. An interesting aspect of this wave was that the pets were also given names, which again just took away from the imagination kids had when playing with them. Whatever, I could get into that, but I'm not going to. As it turns out, giving the pets first and last names would backfire, and not in the way you'd expect. If you watched my wholesome media controversies video, then you already know the scandal. I'm gonna go over it real quick for the people who don't know. That is still one of my favorite videos of mine, so I guess I'd be fine if you guys go watch it later. Whatever. But for those who haven't seen it, basically an LPS set was released including a dog and a hamster. The dog's given name was Benson Detweiler, who is seen in the Littlest Pet Shop series, and the hamster's name was Harris Faulkner. This wouldn't have been a problem if it wasn't for the fact that Harris Faulkner is a Fox News reporter that was not pleased to hear this news. It makes sense, I guess. She's a public figure and didn't want her name associated with a toy that she never approved of and was in no way associated with. However, she sued Hasbro for $5 million. Girlie was not playing around. She basically claimed the company caused her, quote, substantial commercial and emotional damage, unquote, and also claimed that the toy resembles her, which I honestly still think is hilarious. It's literally a yellow hamster. The lawsuit led to a settlement between both parties, and the hamster was taken off the shelves. RIP. At this point, it felt like we were reaching the end of the franchise. Those who were begging for the old LPS felt hopeless, now having gone 4 years without wanting to buy LPS from stores because they looked like this. Fans were losing hope and general interest in the franchise. Lots of kids just grew out of the pets, so whether or not they brought back the old LPS might not have even made a difference. But there were still diehard fans waiting for the day G2 pets made their comeback. Another huge part of this was because it was getting more and more difficult to get your hands on 2005 to 2012 Generation 2 pets. They weren't being produced and sold anymore, naturally making them more expensive. Collectors hated the new pets, so everyone wanted to buy the old ones. And of course, LPS Popular broke the market. Let me explain. LPS Popular, the LPSTube series, became so, well, popular, fans and collectors started seeking out pets used in the series. These pets were named the main 5. The main 5 consists of Dachshunds, Savannah, short-hair cats, Brooke, Collies, Sage, Spaniels, Genevieve and Rachel, and the Great Danes, Tom. You're even cooler if you had the actual exact pet as one of the characters, since there are several different painted molds for each breed. 675 or Savvy typically goes for $300. Brooke usually goes for cheaper, around the $50 to $100 range. Even without LPS Popular, a lot of these molds were pretty popular, but the series, without a doubt, changed the game, and main 5 pets will forever be much harder to get and overall more valuable. This segment might seem out of place, but I feel like the rise of the main 5's popularity had more and more people missing the old LPS and wanting them back in stores to fix the market. Maybe one day a Dachshund like 675 won't be $500, but in a $10 pack at Walmart. All we had to do was wait, right? Hello everyone, so it's me we're talking about, so of course I forgot a good amount of stuff. The first major thing I forgot are fakes. Fakes are a huge problem within the community. Fakes are often sold on like AliExpress or like even Etsy and Mercari, and they're usually only made of the main 5 pets. The main 5 pets are the most valuable and expensive, so of course people are going to make fakes of the most expensive pets because they're not going to put all this time and energy into making a fake for a pet that is only $5 or whatever. There are ways to tell if your pet is a fake. There's pictures, I'll put up pictures. The magnets, sometimes the paint is like not well done. So definitely I would say be careful when buying pets online, especially if you're trying to buy a main 5 pet, because there are fakes out there and they're trying to scam you. So that's a big thing. G5 and G6. Generation 5 rolls around in 2017, and once again, it's better, but not exactly what people were asking for. I do have to admit, I think a lot of these pets are adorable. I think the eyes are cute, and the molds aren't too bad. They don't compare to G2 in my opinion, but at this point, I would have been okay with this. There's not too much to say about this launch, with G6 occurring later that same year. G6 is similar to G5, but I think this is the closest they got to the old pets. Once again, I think they're pretty cute. They're just not Littlest Pet Shop. I will never understand why they messed with good things so bad, and even after all the backlash for years and years, they never fully went back to the original pets. Or did they? Discontinued. In 2020, the franchise went on hiatus, which collectors began to realize was basically a discontinuation. During this time, fans still sold and traded pets and bonded over their love for LPS in communities like the r/Littlest Pet Shop subreddit. My main source of LPS was and still is thrifting. I call it going pet shopping, where me and my boyfriend run around Savers rummaging through the toy bags hoping to spot an LPS. Fun fact, I did this for months with no luck until my parents came home from Savers one day being like, I don't know if this is a Littlest Pet Shop or not, LOL. And it was literally Pomeranian 2449 and I actually died. I was so excited. It's important to note that although the franchise was only discontinued for a few years, G2 pets had not been in stores since 2012, a whole decade. G7. This is why it was so exciting when in October of 2022, a hint towards something exciting was found in an article by Toy World magazine. It is mentioned that Basic Fun, another toy company, will be working on Littlest Pet Shop. Since then, it had been confirmed, and collectors were ecstatic to hear that they will be releasing Generation 2 molds. You guys, this was such a huge deal. I don't think you even understand. We were officially getting G2 back after 10 years. This is around the time I personally got back into LPS. It was such an exciting time constantly refreshing the subreddit for updates. Of course, many fans were skeptical. It's a new company taking over after all, and we had been burned so many times. What if they weren't what we were hoping? Well, Basic Fun made an appearance at LPS Con 2023 and revealed the new mascot, a panda with green eyes with the heart symbol. In late September, fans were waiting for the first reveal of the new Generation 7 pets that would be revealed at the NYC Toy Fair. During the days leading up to the event, the Littlest Pet Shop Instagram started teasing something exciting. Fans thought maybe it's a countdown for the Toy Fair because maybe they would be releasing official photos or maybe even release dates and what stores they'll be in. I was on a high during this time. I had my phone on me all day refreshing Instagram waiting for an update. And we got one. The announcement posts led fans to their website, where they had information on the new Littlest Pet Shop Roblox game. That's right, this kind of disappointed collectors because we thought we would be getting some content on the actual toys, and I was personally worried the Roblox game would overshadow what we're actually here for, which are the pets that you can buy in the stores. It did make a lot of sense though, and was a decent business move since Basic Fun should also be targeting today's children with the G7 launch, not just adult collectors. And while many people weren't interested, there were fans who couldn't wait for the game. LPS video games are very nostalgic for the community, so a new one is still very exciting. The Roblox game was set to be released in December of that same year, while the pets would be released in spring of 2024. Whatever disappointment anyone had only lasted so long though, because that same day, the NYC Toy Fair pictures were spread on the internet and we were about to get the first ever look at Generation 7 pets. One of the first pictures we received was this one, showing the LPS booth. The first eye-catching aspect was the yellow and orange axolotl cutout, which is a completely new mold that we have never seen. Then, zooming in, we see many pets lined up, including molds we have seen before, like the panda, bunny, horse, otter, corgi, cavalier, and so many more. We also got our first look at the packaging for this new launch, and fans were hyped. It's clear that while being inspired by G2 packs, it's more of a modernized look, but managed to still keep the nostalgic feel of the old packaging. We also noticed blind boxes, 3-pack tubes, and single pets. This was a great day for the community, and things were really looking good for G7. But of course, not everything is that simple. The launch itself was a bit of a mess. Despite initially saying the pets would be releasing in spring of 2024, Canada already had pets on shelves by December 2023, before any other country, with no announcement of official release by Basic Fun or anything. Pre-orders on Amazon were made available in early December and were set to arrive to those who ordered on January 16th. However, the same week the sets were supposed to arrive, the orders were delayed until February, a whole month later. I remember when this happened to me, and I was devastated. There was a countdown on the Basic Fun LPS website that said pets would be hitting shelves on January 1st, only for fans to rush to stores to find nothing. Most of the stores had no idea what Littlest Pet Shop even was, so things were not looking good. At the time, there were fans who understood that releases can be hectic, but the lack of transparency and communication on Basic Fun's part was frustrating. Angry and disappointed collectors flooded the LPS Instagram page, begging for answers. Eventually, a statement was made on their story basically saying, "We hear you and we'll let you know the release date soon." They then made a post showing each country's month of release, of course leaving many devastated fans realizing G7 wasn't even coming to their country. For some reason, Target was receiving the pets a whole month before Walmart, and it was overall just a big mess. But eventually, LPS was officially back on shelves. for me in mid-January. Even if you had to ask a Target employee to find some in the back, like I did, and they hated me so much, the feeling of buying Littlest Pet Shop in stores for the first time in, for me, a decade was surreal. The packaging was great, and the pets looked great too. Let's go over the actual quality of the pets. Although the molds looked almost identical to G2 pets, there are a few differences. G2 eyes were hand-painted on, most likely airbrush and stencils, while G7 eyes are printed on, most likely by machines. There are no more magnets, which I saw coming since they got rid of those even before the downfall of Littlest Pet Shop. This results in the pets feeling less heavy and therefore cheaper. It seems silly, but many collectors have noticed the difference in the scent of the new pets compared to the old, noticing the heavy plasticky smell. Next, the actual plastic is less hard than G2, with a lot of pets having squishy heads. The pets are also overall bigger than ever before, which I actually don't mind. After all, my hands have grown since I was 5, so it makes sense that the pets grew with us. When Wave 2 of Generation 7 came, it was a similar release, but much less hectic so far as I'm filming this. Blind boxes and 3-pack tubes have appeared in stores, and there are holiday pets up for pre-order on Amazon. One interesting aspect of this launch is that some collectors have spotted blind box pets with painted eyes instead of printed eyes. There's a notable difference in appearance, and nobody really knows why some eyes are painted on like G2. Some complaints about G7, other than the difference in size and quality, are the designs and colors. Many fans miss the more natural colored pets from early G2 versus the bright, unrealistic pets of G7. Some fans also think the new axolotl mold looks odd, like the head should be wider instead of taller, even making edits of what they think it should have looked like. I personally am just thrilled that I get to see LPS in stores again. I think it's a miracle we even got a relaunch in the first place, and while that doesn't make Basic Fun exempt from criticism, I'm choosing to enjoy reliving my childhood a bit, and I believe Littlest Pet Shop has a bright future ahead. Well, that's about it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment below what you guys would like a deep dive on next. Of course, if I got anything wrong or missed something major, please let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!